Hi everyone, welcome back. So a couple of weeks ago, Dave and I attended a trade show in Orlando. It was called the IDDBA, International Dairy Deli Bakery Association. And I want to tell you why you should attend a trade show. Are there trade shows or conferences within your industry that you can go and attend? I'm telling you, you learn so many things at a trade show. You see all the newest, latest, greatest things that are out there to help you within your industry. So how do you decide what trade show that you should go and attend? Well, that's kind of hit and miss, but for my industry, in the baking industry, there are probably 100 trade shows that go on nationally, internationally, and there's a lot of local food trade shows as well. So, it's just kind of read about them. Talk to your salespeople that provide you with things, talk to your customers, talk around, go on their website, see who's going to be there, see how big the conference is, and decide if it's the right size for your business. What I suggest before you decide what trade show to exhibit at, you should be attending a lot of different trade shows. So one of my favorite trade shows to go to is the Fancy Food Show. And that one is every winter they hold one in California, and then the Fancy Food Show holds another one in the summer, and that one's coming up really soon there in New York at the Javits Center every year. Dave and I walked through that trade show and we had so much fun. We saw so many new cool things. Dave and I went hog wild. We got a couple of free bags that they're giving you, and we just filled them up with all kinds of brochures and marketing materials. People were passing out little free samples of things and little cute little toys and stickers and all this fun marketing material. So we really learned a lot, but man, when we walked out of there, we were laughing at ourselves because we both had like 40-pound, two 40-pound bags, each one over our arms. We were carrying out so many things. And then we had to walk a mile through the parking lot to try to find our car. So, lessons learned. We did not need all that stuff, but we brought it home anyway. When we got home, and some of you know, we have 5 kids, and at the time our kids were little, and we just dumped everything out on the table. It was like trick or treat. We had so much fun. Our kids had the greatest time just going through all of that stuff. So it was fun, but why torture yourself when you're at a trade show and bring home like 50 pounds of paperwork? What you should do when you're at a trade show is, you have a badge and they scan your badge, and then you just, ask them what you want them to send you. Here's what I'm focusing on. Here's the 3 things that I need from you or that I'm interested in. Could you please have a sales rep email me later with the information? I don't need to take home these big, huge brochures, and I've got my carry-on on the plane. I got a weight limit. So you don't need to carry all this paper around with you. This year, Dave and I smartened up, and we just carried this one. We had this one little bag of stuff that I really wanted to grab, and a lot of really cute things that we brought home, like stickers, just really fun little marketing stuff. The gal running this booth was grass-fed beef, and we would go there every morning and get a corned beef sandwich. But I just loved her marketing material. I did pick up some of her stuff, so I'm very choosy of what I pick up and take with me. So it's really important, get out there, go to the trade shows, but go consistently. Dave and I hadn't been to a trade show in a long time, and we kind of waited to the last minute to book our tickets, but this time we were more focused. Dave and I do not do the trucking or hire the reefer trucks that we need, but we have people within our company that do. So we picked up some of these materials from these, frozen food trucks to pass on to our colleagues at work. So we really focused on that because that price is really going high, and so we're shopping around for better prices. We also were focused on packaging. So we picked up a few of these things, and we had our badges swiped at quite a few of the packaging booths that were there. We're really interested in finding a better, sustainable packaging to package our pies in. So we were happy to stay focused on that. So what is your goal? Before you waste your time, it's expensive, you're away from work for 3 or 4 days, have a list of what you want to do when you're at the trade show. You can't do everything all by yourself all the time. You have to stay focused. 2 or 3 goals. What are you looking for? I know other companies that here in Michigan we have Zingerman's. So they have a lot of businesses under their umbrella of Zingerman's, but it's food business. So when they go with their team, they might bring 10 or 15 people to a trade show, and they divide and conquer, right? They've got a couple of people looking at just olive oils. They've got another person just looking at cheese. Another guy's going out looking at packaging. And then they reconvened at the end of the day and they talk about what they found. And that's a great plan. So have a plan and have a goal before you book your tickets. All right, so we were walking around and we saw a lot of the people that we do business with. Our aluminum pie tin company was there. Our pumpkin company was there, and a couple other vendors. Anyway, we stopped at their booth just to say hi and put a face to a name. So that's also important. So one of the booths that were there was one of our suppliers, Libby's. And so we do business with Libby's and Seneca as far as our pumpkin puree that we use to make our millions of pumpkin pies that we're gearing up to start making here pretty soon. We have our pumpkin contract already locked in, but I thought I would stop by and say hi and talk about what's going on in my facility. One of the reasons why we stopped getting Libby's pumpkin pie, and I think it's really great, and we probably still do use some of it, but it comes in these big number 10 cans. We have to crank them all open. I think we have an automatic can opener, but still there's a blade in there, and we have to buy these really expensive gloves that our guys wear to prevent getting cut off the sharp edges from these number 10 cans. So that's kind of another, safety first, and we have to buy these gloves. And we're constantly buying new pairs of these gloves, and it can get pretty expensive. So we have to factor that in our pumpkin cost. So with some of our other pumpkin suppliers, they can put them in big, huge plastic pouches. We're always looking for the best sustainable packaging. We hate plastic, but at least the aluminum cans that the pumpkin comes in can be recycled. But there's pros and cons to them both. So that was one of the things that I do, is talk to my vendors that are there and give them a little insight of what really goes on the customer end of the spectrum, so that they can go back to their shop and try to, figure out better ways to do things. Once you've decided what trade shows you feel are a good fit to exhibit at, you need to start preparing 1 year out, right? So as soon as that trade show ended, you want to start thinking about next year when you are going to be there and up and running. What do you need to do? What do you need to order? We order very few brochures. We used to order brochures, like a whole pallet of brochures. People aren't picking up a lot of paper when they're there. There are some people that are, but you don't need to go and spend thousands of dollars on fancy brochures. Last year we exhibited at the NRA show in Chicago at the McCormick. NRA, National Restaurant Association. That was a very good show for us to be at. We had 4, 5, or 6 of us running that show, actually. So a couple of our store managers, they felt it was a great privilege to go to Chicago. So they had like 3, 4 nights in Chicago. The company paid for all the hotel rooms, and you have a food allowance and the airfare or the train. We had a couple of people take the train. So that's all fun, but it's not just the $2,000 booth that you're going to be renting at the conference. It's everything else that goes into it. So that trade show was a 3-day long trade show. It cost our company just over $10,000. You have to really think, really prepare, and really budget for these trade shows. One of the great things about a trade show is there's usually a lot of classes that they offer that go on in the morning before the doors open to the floor, and sometimes throughout the day, throughout the afternoon, how to market, what your customers are looking for, just all kinds of wonderful classes, classes with HR information, how to hire, how to train, just a lot of really good speakers and classes. So it's a learning time for for you and your staff. Dave and I spent over $400 each on these tickets for the IDDBA. That's a lot of money, but it was worth it. Sometimes though, you guys can get free tickets. So some of your vendors or your distributors might be there, and you can ask them, are you exhibiting at the trade show? Yeah, I've got free tickets. You want some? So sometimes you never know, you might be able to get a few free tickets. So there's a lot of really great speakers at these trade shows too. I met the guy who books these speakers, and I told him how happy I was and how much fun it was over the years that I have listened and attended, you know, his great speaker lineup, that he's been doing a great job. So I met him during the reception. So the evening before the trade show opens, there's always a really nice reception at the IDDBA, and it's kind of a meet and greet and wine and dine. It's a lot of fun. So we were able to meet Christina Tosi there. She is a James Beard award-winning pastry chef. So it was great fun to stand and chat with her for a few minutes. The next morning, the speakers were Seth Godin. Now, you may have read some of his books. He's got a lot of really great books out there that I've read. The Purple Cow. My husband had a great time. He was taking notes. So Seth Godin gave us a lot of really good information. We listened to Michael J. Fox. He was a hoot, man. He is great. So that was very inspirational. And we saw Laila Ali. So this is Muhammad Ali's daughter. And again, very inspirational. She's an entrepreneur and just a world champ too. So it's always really good to be able to sit in there and get yourself energized and pumped up and listen to these great speakers. Michael J. Fox was our favorite speaker of the day. He is so cool. Here he is at the IDDBA, and he doesn't know anything about the dairy, deli, bakery business, but he's there speaking. So at the end of his presentation, the president of the IDDBA came out and interviewed him for a short time and asked him a few questions. And they asked Michael what his favorite indulgence was. What is his guilty pleasure? Here you're at the bakery and dairy and deli. What's your favorite thing? And guess what he said? He loved pie. So does anybody know how to get a hold of Michael J. Fox? Because I really think he would love our Michigan 4-berry pie, don't you? Give me a call, Michael. Give me a call. All right, so the very first time that we were exhibiting at a trade show, it was the Fancy Food Show. It was at the McCormick Center in Chicago. And there was a whole bunch of us that all went over there. So what were we expecting to come from that trade show? What did we want to happen? And so you should be thinking about what you want to happen. Are you trying to find a distributor? Are you trying to find a manager, right? What are you trying to find? What are you trying to do? What's your goal when you're exhibiting? Again, it costs over 10 grand for us to exhibit. We're there. We were hoping to land at least one big account. Maybe $1 million a year account, a $2 million a year account. We've got some really big accounts that we have landed from, you know, exhibiting at trade shows, networking, people trying our pies. Let your contacts know that you're going to be there. It's a lot easier to meet up with potential customers while you're on display. You have all your materials there. You have lots of samples there for them to taste. So much better than going out to their office and trying to do that again for their small group, which is pretty good too. So let me tell you what happened to us when we were there at the Fancy Food Show in Chicago. We had one guy come by all in a suit from Publix. And Publix is a huge grocery store chain in Florida. They at the time had over 900 grocery stores. And so he walked by and he tried a sample of our Michigan 4-berry pie, and he backed up and he was like, whoa, this is really good. And he walked over to my booth, and I tried to stay calm. I didn't want to like jump over the booth and get my claws in, Publix, you know. Be polite and take your time, high energy, but not too hyper, you know, and scare him off. He was a very soft-spoken man. I'll never forget him, but he loved the 4-berry so much, and he asked a few questions, and I had maybe 2 minutes to give my elevator speech. The next day, he came back now with 8 suits from Publix, and they all came to the booth and they all tasted it and tried it, and they really loved our pie. That would be a huge account for Achatz Pie Company It would have been too big of an account, but I didn't know any better. Anyway, a few months later, we got back in touch again after the trade show was over, and I got the invite to go to the Publix headquarters in Lakeland, Florida. What a great treat that was. Just a couple of weeks ago when we were at the IDDBA, I want to say, you never know who you're going to run into. And so we ran into Cowgirl Creamery. It's one of my favorite places. It's a very small business in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it's a woman who started this business where she is a co-op of creameries up there and makes really great cheese. And every time I go to San Francisco, my daughters and I will always stop in at the Ferry Building where they have a little shop there, and we always have lunch, and I always bring some cheese home. I love that they're doing the whole grass-fed thing. They're really, taking good care of the soil and the whole water retention and everything that goes with that. And I'm going to include a little link here for a video where I talk about healthy soil making healthy pies. I stopped by her booth and ate a bunch of samples and told her that I really loved her company and I really admired what they were doing. And I took my picture with them. And so, I could tell that we were on the same vibe, right? We're in the same wavelength of thinking. She's my girl. She's in my tribe, when you hit it off with somebody, if they're doing something like the way she's running her business, then we had a lot of commonalities. And so I started talking about what's on my mind recently is the glyphosate on wheat. I'm really freaked out about that, as I've told you guys in some other videos. So I'm asking for spec sheets. I'm asking for the lab reports. I'm really trying to keep it off of your food that we're eating. And so she was right up with that. She gets it, right? She's from California. But then she actually suggested that I talk to this other guy who was, on the forefront of wheat here in this country as far as ancient grains and growing wheat organically and things like that. So I was able to hook up there with another guy. So when you're at a trade show and you're talking and you're networking to people and you find your tribe, you can really hone in on your specialty. So way back when, before we even thought about going to a trade show, we didn't even know how to put a catalog together. So that's another good reason why you should go to a trade show, is to see how other people put catalogs together. You pick up brochures and you see how they put, all of their items together in a catalog, and you figure it out. So, other businesses that we really admired and we really felt were doing a great job, we picked up their brochures and we learned how to put a spec sheet together. We learned how to, do food photography. So a lot goes into your marketing, and that's another good reason to go to a trade show. See how other people are putting their marketing materials together. Another reason to go to the trade shows is because your competitors are there. You got to stop by their booth and see what they're doing, right? And don't sneak over there. Just walk up there. You got your badge on. Everybody knows who you are. So there was quite a few pie competitors there this year at the IDDBA. I felt really bad that I wasn't exhibiting, but you know what? Next year it's going to be in Indianapolis, so it'll be really close. We'll all be able to drive down. We'll take a big truckload of stuff. So we'll save a little money there, but yeah, check out your competitors. See what they're doing, man. My competitors had some really big, beautiful booths, but I don't think any of their pies can touch our pies. So anyway, we'll have to see them next year when we're set up and exhibiting at the IDDBA. Make it a fun experience, stay an extra day. And so when you're in Orlando, Dave and I, we don't really like Orlando. There's nothing in Orlando for us unless our kids were little. And then we would have stayed a few more days and we would have all went to Disney World. It's great. So make it fun. There's a lot of trade shows in that huge convention center there in Las Vegas. Las Vegas isn't one of my favorite places, but your team might really like to go to Las Vegas and do some gambling. There's a lot of really great shows in Las Vegas. The last time we were there, we saw Elton John, and that was great. And then who's the magician there? David Copperfield. That was fun too. So we went and saw 2 shows. So we saved our money, and we were able to do that. If you go to the McCormick Center in Chicago, like I said, you're planning a year out. You're going to need about 6 months to make a reservation at some of those really nice restaurants in Chicago, I highly recommend Alinea or Royster or Next. And those are my husband's cousin, Grant Achatz's restaurant. You're going to need a long time. There's a long waiting list to get in, but that would be a really special treat when you're in Chicago. So remember, keep all your receipts. This is an entire business trip, right? Even the dinners that you go to afterwards, keep your receipt. This was a business week. Everything I write off. Uber receipts, all of the cab receipts, everything that you needed for the show. It's all a write-off. So there you go, everything that I know about attending or exhibiting at a trade show. Been around for 26 years, so I hope that you enjoyed this video today, and I'll see you next week.